Hello and welcome to a new video. I have not been able to sit down and just film a booktube video in so long, but I finally am on break. I have a new SD card, so I am able to just sit down and film. And today, since it is getting towards the end of the year, right now it is December 17th, I am going to film my top 5 favorite books of the year. Now, it was really hard to narrow this down to only 5 because I did read about 80 books this year. Obviously the year's not over and I do plan on reading quite a few more still. These books, if in the next 2 weeks I read the most amazing book ever, whatever, it won't make it to this top 5 list, but I figured so far I would mention my top 5 favorite books, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I am not going to order these like best worst or anything, they're just top 5 out of the 80. It was hard enough to narrow it down, let alone trying to place them in any sort of order. So the first one is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I read this towards the beginning of the year. This is a book about a girl named Diana who has grown up knowing that she is a witch, but she has never wanted to use her powers because of the circumstances of her parents' death. And she is at Oxford studying and doing teacher scholarly things. I honestly don't know what she does. And she meets Matthew, who is a vampire, and from there things start to sort of spiral out of control because it turns out she was the only person to have pulled up this manuscript, the Ashmole, and it's supposedly got a lot of really important secrets in there that everyone in the magical world wants, and she doesn't really want to be a part of it at all. She kind of just wants to live her life, but she gets pulled into it regardless and ends up falling in love with Matthew. And let me just say, this book was so good. It definitely would get slower in places, but I just loved Diana so much. Like, as a character, I saw myself in her so much, and I just really loved it. I also loved Matthew as a character. He definitely came on a bit strong sometimes, but he really was just like, had a really great heart, but also wasn't a perfect character. He made decisions that weren't considered, you know, great sometimes, and I just really loved the story. I also have watched the show, and the show is incredible. It's almost perfect to the book in my opinion, and I really would love to continue, probably finish this series in 2020. I'm surprised I haven't yet. I am kind of thinking of picking up the second one pretty soon, but yeah, that definitely makes it into my top 5. The next book on my top 5 list is one I read around the same time, and that is Aragon by Christopher Plony. Now, I am super late to the game with this one, but this book is about a boy who discovers a dragon egg, and dragons are very rare, if not extinct. No one really believes in them anymore, but he finds the egg, and the egg hatches, and he forms a bond with this dragon, and it is about their quest to protect the dragon and eventually save the kingdom and figure out what's going on and discovering magic and everything. And it was just so magical. It truly brought me back to like reading Harry Potter for the first time, or Percy Jackson, that sort of just magical book. I will say this one is maybe a little bit on the higher age group than like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson. It does cover some more dark topics, and the protagonist is a little bit older than like Harry or Percy when those books started. But it was so good. It was so good, and I can't believe I didn't read it sooner. Like, it's a book that's right up my alley, and I just never picked it up. It is a long book, and it did take me a little bit, but it was so worth it in the end. It's just such an incredible world. The building of this magical world is just so good. The next book on my list is a little bit of a cheat. I'm going to say it's A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, but really it's that whole series. I read them pretty close all together, and as a series I just love them so much. So A Study in Charlotte is about Jamie and Charlotte, and they are descendants of the famous Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. But this time they are gender swapped, basically, where Charlotte is the Holmes and Jamie is the Watson. And it is just so much fun. I am a huge fan of Sherlock, so to see these two younger characters attack the mysteries in the way that they do, and how they are similar to Sherlock and John and how they are different to Sherlock and John, and just see them grow up, especially throughout the whole series, to see where they start compared to where they end is just incredible. And oh my god, I wish there were more of these books. I loved them so much. Especially seeing Charlotte grow into the person that she becomes is just incredible, because she does go through a lot. She had a pretty rough childhood, and then growing up to be Charlotte Holmes with like all the weight that comes with that last name, it was just incredible to see her grow. I could read an endless amount of books with these characters. I love them so much. The next one on my list, I'm also kind of cheating in that it is Hunting Prince Dracula. I also read Escaping from Houdini this year, and I'm sort of lumping those together. I couldn't pick between the two of them, and I haven't read the fourth and last one yet. This series is about Thomas Cresswell and Audrey Rose. Audrey Rose is a young woman in the 1800s, I believe that is the century. Even though she is a lady, she wants to be a coroner, basically, a mortician, that kind of thing. She wants to study the human body, the sciences, she wants to solve crime, she wants to be more than just a lady who, you know, throws tea parties. And Thomas, in the first one, sort of became her accomplice to their whatever they do, to solving crime, and that it's just about them solving some mysteries and falling in love along the way, which is just, you know, amazing. These books, again, I just had a really great year for mysteries, I think. I think I should start reading more of them. I just need more mysteries, specifically like either Charlotte Holmes or this one. But it was really, really incredible. I loved seeing the relationship between Thomas and Audrey develop, but also still in the confines of it's the 1800s, I think, and you know, only so much can happen, but the end of Escaping from Houdini was fantastic, and the mysteries in these ones, I really, really loved the mystery in Hunting Prince Dracula. It was such a twist. I did not expect any of it. The mystery in Escaping from Houdini was really good as well. I don't know if it was as good as the other two, but overall, I really, really loved this series. The last one on my list was a bit hard to narrow down, but The Burning Maze from the Trials of Apollo series by Rick Riordan. Now, since this is one later in the series, I'll just give a synopsis of the Apollo series in general. But the Apollo series by Rick Riordan is about the god Apollo, who is cast down after the last series ended with Percy. He's cast down onto Earth to be human, and he has to deal with that and solve, you know, the mysteries and the prophecies and survive and, you know, not die, which Apollo is mediocrely good at. The third one is about the Burning Maze. They're trying to save California from these fires and get some answers to their prophecy. I almost wanted to put the fourth one on my list as my favorite, The Tyrant's Tomb, because it was incredible and I loved the emotional growth for Apollo in the fourth one. But in the third one, there was such a big twist. That one just won over me. I have not accepted this twist. If you see any of my reading vlogs while reading those, the third and fourth Apollo, it's a hard no from me. I don't understand how to process it yet. I don't believe that it's true. It's not true, actually. It's totally, I'm fine. As you can see, the book threw me by such a surprise. It was just so astounding that Rick Riordan would make a move like that, because it's so unlike anything that's ever happened in the Percy Jackson universe, and I'm not happy about it. I actually hate it, but also I'm so like amazed by the fact that it threw me for such a loop, and yeah, it was a lot. I have not processed it. I'm not as good at talking about this one because, one, I don't want to spoil, and two, it's just so insane. Burning Maze was really good, and again, I read 2, 3, and 4 of this series this year, and the 5th one is not out yet. I really liked seeing the growth of Apollo, his moral character throughout the series. I also loved seeing all the little cameos from everyone else. The 4th one especially had Hazel and Frank and Raina, who I loved seeing again. And then in the 2nd or 3rd, Leo and Calypso were there, which was so incredible because lots has happened with them, as one may know if you've read the Heroes of Olympus series. So yeah, it's just a really good conglomerate of everything coming together and lots of stuff happening, and I cannot wait for the 5th one. Before I close out this video, because my camera is about to die, I thought I would mention a few honorable mentions, just because I have read so many incredible books this year. I did quite a few rereads, and I'm not really including those in this like best books of 2019 kind of thing, because like I reread The Hunger Games, which I obviously loved, and I reread Twilight, which I obviously loved, but those don't quite make it into my like best books of the year just because I'd read them all before. So a couple honorable mentions were The Diviners by Libba Bray, Romanoff by Nadine Brands, Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Those last few, I loved them all, they just didn't quite make it to my top 5. It was so hard to narrow it down to 5 books because so far I have read 82 books in the year and there's still more I want to read. But I really enjoyed picking 5 books out. I read a lot of good books. There were definitely some losses this year that I did not like, but I think the books that I did like completely overshadow the ones I didn't. So I hope you enjoyed listening about my top favorite books of the year. If you are watching this, go ahead and comment what your favorite book of the year was. I hope to read so many more books in 2020, even though I'll still be in nursing school, so God knows life will be busy. But thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I typically upload on Sundays, except for now when I was waiting for my SD card to come in the mail so I could film. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.